Welcome to Hoops Tonight here at The Volume. Happy Monday, everybody. Hope all of you guys had a great weekend. We had unexpected great basketball on Saturday as the team from South Sudan gave Team USA a hell of a battle, and we ended up with the LeBron James game winner. And then Germany, likewise, takes a fourth quarter lead against USA Today. And once again, LeBron James down the stretch, 11 points in the final 4 minutes. I want to talk a little bit about LeBron and how him kind of rising to the top of the USA pile is super interesting and what that means and what makes it interesting. I want to talk about why this team has struggled a little bit, because I think there are some misconceptions about FIBA basketball and how tough these games actually are. But I think we can all agree they shouldn't be in, clutch time slugfest every single night either. So they're clearly underachieving a little bit. So we're going to talk a little bit about what's going on with Team USA. After that, I have 3 big questions I want to hit. I want to talk a little bit more about LeBron in the big picture. I want to talk about Joel Embiid and his interview and some of those weird questions or weird answers that he gave. And then at the end, I got in a little trouble on Twitter the other day for saying that I thought the 2020 Lakers would beat the 2024 Celtics in a series. So I want to dive into that. That's going to be a little segment we have where we go over 3 fake questions. You guys know the drill. Before we get started, subscribe to the Hoops Tonight YouTube channel so you don't miss any more of our videos. Follow me on Twitter at _JasonLT. Don't forget about our podcast feed. Remember, it'd be really helpful if you guys leave a rating and a review on that front. And then keep dropping mailbag questions in the YouTube comments. We are going to do a mailbag later this week as we kill some time heading into the Olympics. And last but not least, before we get started, I want to talk to you guys about Game Time. Game Time has come through super clutch for me a couple times recently for Dead & Company tickets. I used them again. I used them while I was in Vegas to get a last minute deal, but then I had to take my wife back out there. So we're going the final weekend that they're out there. And once again, Game Time came clutch for me with an awesome deal on some seats on a show that's been one of the hottest tickets in Vegas as of late. And I talk a lot about like the zone deals where you pick a zone and then they'll pick their seats in there for you and you get a discount that way. By far the coolest part of what this app does is the flash deals. The flash deals, you just get they just heavily discount tickets seemingly randomly, and you can find really good deals even relative to other nearby seats on other apps if you can catch them in those windows when they do those flash deals. They're not there for long, but when you catch them, they can really get you a lot of savings. It's an awesome experience. I highly recommend you guys check it out. It doesn't just have to be for concerts. It can be for baseball games. You can go see your favorite Major League Baseball team this summer. You can go see a concert or a comedy show. Anything you need, Game Time has you covered. Take the guesswork out of buying concert or Major League Baseball tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code HOOPS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code HOOPS. That's HOOPS for $20 off your first purchase. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. All right, let's talk some basketball. One last announcement before we get started. I recorded an interview with Jaime Jaquez Jr. like 11 days ago, and then it finally got approved. So that's going to be airing on the feed tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I'm going to tweet out another reminder of it tonight. But it was really fun for my first time ever interviewing an NBA player. Jaime Jaquez also just had a very productive summer league as he got named second team all summer league. Dove into a bunch of stuff with the USA Select team, his time with the Miami Heat, his development as a post scorer. I thought it was really interesting. I'm excited for you guys to see that. That's going to be on the feeds tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. And again, thank you guys for your patience on that front. So why is it such a big deal that in these big moments on Team USA that LeBron James seems to be the guy that is most comfortable taking things over and bringing the team home? And the reason why is simple. These are really high pressure moments. Like any loss for this team is a disaster. Imagine the news cycle this morning on all your favorite shows if South Sudan had won on Saturday. Imagine the news cycle tomorrow if they had barely escaped South Sudan on Saturday and then somehow blown. They were trailing in the fourth quarter against Germany today. Like, what if they had lost that game? Imagine the news cycle tomorrow. As far as the LeBron stuff goes, I have a lot of guys who listen to this show who are not LeBron fans, who dislike LeBron. It's not a huge shock. He's a very polarizing player, right? But There are a lot of you I know that had LeBron gotten blocked on that right-handed layup against South Sudan, or if he had settled for a pull-up jump shot and missed it, you know damn well the kind of things you would have been saying, right? These are high-pressure moments. There's a lot to lose here. Obviously, they're not in the actual elimination games, and that will add another layer to things when they get to that point. But these are really high-pressure moments. And LeBron is taking a personal responsibility in that situation to be responsible for the outcome. In high-pressure moments on a basketball team, it requires a huge amount of confidence in your ability to grab the reins and take that personal responsibility in the outcome. And again, we know what LeBron's abilities are. He's bigger and stronger and faster than the majority of players in the world, which is insane at his age, but it's the truth. I think this game against Germany was an excellent kind of showcase for LeBron's footwork. I always talk about the idea of a scorer getting to their spots, right? And to get to your spots, there are multiple elements there. There's a floor vision piece. You got to be going at the right times when the spacing on the floor actually dictates that there's an opportunity for you to get to a spot on the floor. So there's like a basketball IQ element of it. You also have to pass yourself into those opportunities as a primary ball handler. There is a massive brain and IQ element to it. The second piece of it is skill. You got to have the ball control to get to where you are, where you're trying to get to, while having enough control over the basketball to then get to a shot. Whether it's a fadeaway over your right shoulder, or a fadeaway over your left shoulder, or a floater, or a hook shot, or whatever it might be, there's a skill element. Well, the third element to it is footwork. You actually have to be able to get there without traveling, while also doing it against elite athletes. And the only way you're going to do it against elite athletes is if you have the footwork to be efficient with your movements while you go to that spot. So for instance, if you waste energy with a negative step, if you waste energy by having to hop instead of getting to a 1-2 because you're uncomfortable getting your foot to that spot, if you can drop step towards the baseline but you only can shoot and you don't have a step through, then an athlete can beat you to that spot and put you into some trouble. There is a footwork piece to getting from point A to point B as well. How many times did you see in that fourth quarter run from LeBron where he would get into the lane and then pump fake and wait for dudes around him to get out of position and then pivot without traveling and get to an easy spot underneath the basket for him to then unleash his size and strength for that little right-handed bank shot, right? Like, all of those elements are important for a player to get to their spots. There are a lot of guys in the league that are incredibly skilled, that have every dribble combination in the book and every pull-up jump shot in the book, but they don't see the floor well enough to know when to go to their spots, or they don't pass the ball well enough to keep the help defense home. Or maybe they don't have the footwork to get to that spot. There are a lot of guys that have all of the footwork and have all of the vision, but don't have the scoring ability, right? We've seen guys like Ben Simmons in the NBA that have struggled with that, right? It's very rare to have a player that actually kind of has it all. And that's part of what has made LeBron so good over his career. He's got the size and strength. He's got the footwork. He's got the skill shots that he needs to get to finish those plays. The second half run against South Sudan, I want to kind of go through the specifics of the way he took over these two games. So in the South Sudan game, for instance, right around the start of the second half, things were getting a little ugly as they came out. They went on a little run, but then Sudan pushed it right back up to 16, and it looked like it was going to be some trouble. And LeBron actually kind of took over the offense for the majority of that second half. And he was kind of playing in that role that I talked about a lot after the Serbia game, which is like, at the top of the key, while there's off-ball action happening around him, it's kind of like functioning similarly to the way that Draymond Green functions within the Golden State offense, except for LeBron's obviously a much higher level offensive player. But he was hitting a lot of back cuts and like getting into the lane and making drop-off passes, kicks to shooters, hitting Steph as he was running off of off-ball action. He was kind of just functioning as the hub. Hit a couple of big pull-up threes during that stretch as well. But then on the game winner, he just unleashed his superpower. And again, that was crazy. Again, after JT Thor hit that step back three in the right corner, Sudan was up with 20 seconds left. If LeBron misses that shot, they lose the game. If LeBron settles for a jumper there and misses it, they lose the game. There was some real pressure there. And what was cool was like LeBron just went to old reliable. He went to that like hesitation, hard dribble to the left, clear out with that off arm to get separation. And then he's a big, LeBron has a great left hand, but he's big right hand on the left side of the rim because he turns his back. And he kind of like uses his back as a shield to prevent the player from coming over the top. And then he'll extend with that right hand and finish at the rim. Huge, huge play. The late run against Germany. A big part of it too, like he ramped up as an athlete down the stretch of that game. He was kind of in chill mode for the middle portion of that Germany game. He had 3 huge defensive rebounds down the stretch where he just beat everybody to the basketball. Right in between his cut off of the Joel Embiid layup and the full court post up where he got the layup, the back-to-back layups he had, right in between those 2 plays, he made the first layup, a lefty layup that sent him into the cameras. He turned around and sprinted the floor and got a steal in transition as he beat everybody to a passing lane. Like, he can scale up as an athlete when he needs to in these moments. Is he going to do that for an 82-game season? No. But in these singular moments, he can still elevate his game to a level that most people on the planet can't get to. And then again, like that, Joel Embiid was posting on the right block. LeBron's man digged down. As soon as he dug down, LeBron just cut in that slot. Embiid, nice pass. Embiid had Embiid was getting torched on defense, but he had a much better offensive game in this particular game. Embiid also had a huge block at the rim that led to the Anthony Edwards dunk, which sneaky, crazy move was that left to right crossover that Ant used in transition. That was super smooth. But LeBron cutting off the slot on the Embiid post up. Then right after he gets the transition steal, he gives up the basketball and runs up the right side of the floor. Again, doing your job. Like, you got the steal. You're out of position to be the ball handler. Give it to the ball handler. Sprint up the wing. He gets inside position on his defender who stays a little bit too much high and above him on his left shoulder side. LeBron catches, dribbles into the post, goes through him and Schroeder at the rim and gets the layup. There was the right wing 3. Daniel Tice was guarding LeBron and was digging way down into the lane. Most of these teams don't have guys that can guard LeBron, and so what they've been doing is just playing way off of him and daring him to shoot. But as we know, LeBron just had the best jump shooting season of his career. So LeBron hung out on that right wing, knocked down the huge 3 to put him up 4, and then the late game possession was kind of a fascinating sequence because one of Germany's wings was on Steph and Schroeder was on LeBron. And Schroeder did not want to get switched off of LeBron. Steph was trying to screen him so that he could get a slower defender on LeBron. And I get it, like Schroeder's quicker and can kind of hang out with LeBron laterally, but LeBron's just so much bigger than him. And Schroeder, for whatever reason, would not concede the switch. He fought through the screen, stayed with LeBron. LeBron just turned his back and bullied him from the 3-point line, did that hardcore spin move towards the baseline, pump fake, then step through. Beautiful footwork. I clipped that play. I mean, you don't have to look at my feed. You can find it anywhere on social media right now, but beautiful footwork from LeBron to get it done. That was fun to watch. The crazy thing is, he's clearly been the best player on this team. Now, is he the best guy for an 82-game regular season? Is LeBron going to be able to bring it as an athlete from early October to mid-June the way these other guys can? No, obviously not. But if he gets to a playoff series, if he gets to a situation where it's a small sample size and everything is on the line and he is healthy, yeah, there's that Jokic tier, Jokic, Luka, Giannis. I'm not sure LeBron can reach that level in those situations anymore. But everybody that's below that tier, in a big spot, he's better than all those guys. And this is the latest example of that. Don't let the incompetence of Jeanie Buss and the Lakers distract you from the fact that LeBron has been playing at a top 5 level late into his 30s. Don't let the issues that the purple and gold have been having, which are extensive and go well beyond things that LeBron James is doing, don't let that distract you from the level of basketball that he's playing. It's insane that on a team that has all these guys that are in their 20s, in their early 30s, in their primes, that he is the guy that is able to meet this occasion and take control the way that he has been. It's a testament to his greatness. It's a testament to the respect that these guys have for him, that they trust him. And he's not failing. It's not like he's hijacking the reins and failing. He's taking control and getting it done, getting it down resoundingly. It's insane. As a LeBron fan, watching him with this Team USA has been one of the cooler experiences rooting for him that I've had over the years. You know the beautiful thing about being a sports fan? There's only like 2 days the whole year without a game. 2. With so much happening and so much action, that makes just about every day game day at DraftKings Sportsbook. It's super easy for first-timers to get started. Try betting on something simple like picking a team to win. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app, select your team, and place your first bet. It really couldn't be any easier or any simpler. Baseball, golf, UFC, there's something for every fan of every sport to bet on DraftKings. And I know it's early, but football season will be here before you know it. And the Kansas City Chiefs are currently the favorite to win the Super Bowl on DraftKings at plus 550. And if you're new to DraftKings, you got to check this out. New customers bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code HOOPS. That's HOOPS. That's code HOOPS for new customers to get $150 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings, the crown is yours. You know, whatever your vibe, it's a Camry vibe. That's the reason the Toyota Camry has been America's best-selling sedan for the past 22 years. And the all-new Camry takes it to a new level. It comes equipped with a standard 225 horsepower engine and available sport-tuned suspension, providing power, speed, and agility. Think of the Camry as your typical swingman. And it's a good-looking car, too. The Camry racing on the 2025 NASCAR circuit was based on the racing-inspired design of the all-new Camry, with available features including two-tone midnight black metallic roof and rear spoiler and 19-inch alloy wheels. The interior is just as fly. The Camry has a modern interior design with available features like a leather-trimmed steering wheel and multi-stage heated and ventilated front seats. We're talking fundamentals and flash. You don't see that combo often on the court or on the road. And because every all-new Camry is a hybrid, it has awesome fuel efficiency with up to an EPA estimated 51 miles per gallon combined. Whatever your vibe, it's a Camry vibe. Learn more at toyota.com/Camry. But let's talk about Team USA as a whole for a little bit. So, what's going on with Team USA? It's not a concern to me that they aren't beating teams by 30. This is not the FIBA of 1992. These are really good basketball teams. And this showcase cycle has been mostly really good teams. Serbia, really good team. Germany, really good team. Canada, really good team. And Australia's tough. And South Sudan, their odds to win the gold medal improved 10 times after that game because everyone saw like, oh, they might actually be the most athletic team in the tournament. They're super long. They play super hard. They've got a couple of really good guards and they can play. These are real basketball teams. These are not if you were to go watch FIBA in 1992, it's an entirely different level of competition. So like thinking that they're just going to rip through everybody the way the Dream Team did, that's not going to happen. That said, should they be in real crunch time as frequently as they have been against these teams? No. So I think we can all agree that the team is underachieving to a certain extent. That goes without saying. But I think it primarily has to do with lineup construction. So for instance, the starters in particular are really struggling to defensive rebound and to guard the ball, like at the point of attack. Well, you have to run drop coverage because Joel Embiid can't guard on the perimeter. So you have a big man that forces you to chase over the top of screens in a lineup with Devin Booker, who's an average athlete and not a guy who's known getting over screens, LeBron, who's almost 40, and Steph, who's almost 37. That's what you have out there with the big that requires you to chase over the top of the screen. That should be a switching unit. And you need Anthony Davis at center in order to do what you need to do to be a switching unit with that group, right? You're struggling to defensive rebound, but you're playing a 3-guard lineup. Not only 3 guards, but 2 of those guards are Steph, who turns 37 next season, and Devin Booker, who's a mediocre athlete. And LeBron, who's 40, and Joel Embiid, who is slow-footed and out of shape. Of course you can't rebound. That lineup is not a good rebounding lineup. If you put Anthony Davis in for Joel Embiid, you instantly become way faster and way longer, and you can start doing the switching that you need to make that unit work defensively. If you put Kevin Durant, when he's healthy, in for Devin Booker, you immediately become a much better defensive rebounding team. And guess what? Kevin Durant struggles to chase over screens, so that needs to be a switching group. So literally just KD healthy in for Devin Booker, AD in for Joel Embiid solves the majority of the issues for that lineup. They instantly become way better rebounding, they instantly become faster, and they instantly become a switching group, which is what they need to be to function defensively anyway. The bench groups are really struggling to execute offense in the half court. They've been awesome defensively. The Bam, Tatum, AD front court has been insane defensively. Anthony Edwards has done his fair share of shot making, but overall in the half court, they're just a little clunky. Well, Embiid is an offensive firepower machine. He's a hub that you can throw in there. Adding Joel Embiid to that group should really help. And Embiid is slow-footed, but that lineup would have Anthony Edwards, Jayson Tatum, and Bam Adebayo all really athletic and can help hide the foot speed issues that you have, especially if you end up moving Devin Booker into that group, right? Which I'm assuming he'd go into that spot and then probably Derek White would fall out of the lineup. Or if it ends up being Derek White, who knows? But that group makes more sense. Offensively, you've got these tunnel vision guys in Ant, Joel Embiid, but let them play tunnel vision basketball. Let them play your turn, my turn basketball in that unit. Oh, you need to run drop with Joel Embiid. Well, Anthony Edwards and Jayson Tatum and Bam, they're just way more athletic. That's a group that is more equipped to run drop. You have Derek White in with your bench group right now. Ant and Derek White are both substantially better athletes than Steph and Devin Booker. So it makes sense within that group. So again, I think just a couple of lineup tweaks will put this team right back on the right track. And here's the thing. We got to be honest with ourselves here. It's very possible that Steve Kerr is under a directive from Team USA to make sure that Embiid is starting. It very well may be the reason why Embiid is on this team, for all we know. I haven't heard anything specific about that, but I mean, I put it like this. I believe Steve Kerr sees what we're seeing. And I think he's way too smart of a basketball mind to not know it. I would imagine he knows, which makes me think that there might be some sort of directive. A big giveaway there is today, in the final minutes, in crunch time, Anthony Davis ended up getting in that 5 spot, which I thought was interesting. That's an indicator of Steve's true belief system there. But if it is the case that Embiid has a guaranteed starting spot and Kerr can't bump him, and they have to continue these janky-ass lineup groupings for the majority of these games, then this team is vulnerable. No question. Because the current lineup groupings are funky and redundant, and they underachieve. And so, yeah, I think they're a lot closer to being more dominant than we think, just by making a couple of simple tweaks. It's weird to me that it's taken this long, but I would imagine there are some extraneous circumstances that are kind of influencing that in terms of the basketball politics at play. All right, I've got 3 fake questions for you guys before we get out of here for the day. Question number 1. Jason, you are a LeBron fan, but you still have MJ as your GOAT. Does LeBron's superstar play extending into his 40s change that for you at all? It does. I did a bit on the LeBron MJ debate. I want to say it was at least 2 years ago. I think it was the summer after I first started with the volume. Might even have been earlier than that. But I made the case for both, and it was very simple. MJ's case is dominance. There was no player that was close to as good as him for so long, and they won so frequently in that window there in the 90s that just the gap between him and the rest of the league, it almost looks like an outlier data point, right? And so that would be MJ's case, dominance. LeBron's case is longevity. LeBron's case is, hey, there's 30 NBA GMs, and you get to pick from every player in NBA history. Their whole careers. You get them from the day they're drafted to the day they hang them up. And this is just your first pick, so it's not in the context of another team. You have to draft a team around that guy. Who do you take? You take LeBron. Because with LeBron, I'm getting 22 years of top 5 level play. Maybe if you're being picky and you're saying the 2023 year he was kind of rough, and his rookie year he was kind of rough, and he was, injured in the 2019 season. Okay, so 19 seasons of top 5 play. That's insane. At a certain point, by having that, I just give my team a really good chance to win a lot of championships because I have that level of consistent greatness at the top. Now, am I ready to swap my pick? Because right now I do have MJ as the GOAT. I want to wait until after the Olympics before I make that sort of stand. But if LeBron continues to lead this team the way that he has, and in the real elimination games, again, lifts this team over the top, that to me would be such a strong indicator that he's the best American player in the year 2024 at age 39 years old, which is such an insane accomplishment that you're piggybacking on what was already insane 2 years ago. And so at that point, I would have no choice, I think, but to acknowledge that. But again, I'm going to wait until after the Olympics. But I used to be pretty entrenched on that MJ 1, LeBron 2 stance, and I'm starting to soften a little bit on that just because this is getting ridiculous, guys. Jason, what do you make of Joel Embiid's comments recently to the New York Times? So those of you guys who didn't see this, and I'm sure most of you did, but Joel Embiid had some comments about how this isn't the same team that it looks to be on paper, and LeBron's not as good as he used to be, and Steph isn't as good as he used to be, and he specifically said that this team doesn't have a talent advantage, which I think is ridiculous. Like, the scores notwithstanding, I think Team USA does have a substantial talent advantage. Is it anywhere near as wide as it was in 1992? Obviously not. The global teams have gotten way better. We talked about that earlier. But I do think this Team USA team is more talented. And so that comment is just strange because it's underselling your teammates to try to it's like a weird kind of like pressure deflecting type of comment. That to me is silly. Like, this team should win. It's a disaster if they don't. They absolutely have a huge talent advantage. The second piece of it was Embiid said that he thought he could potentially have been the GOAT had he not been injured. And here's the thing. Yeah, maybe. But like we've all been there. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I haven't tried to make an excuse in my life. I've had bad days at the gym where I'm in the car on the way home and I'm like, I'm dealing with XYZ and this is why I'm not playing well. Like, I get busy with work sometimes and I just don't get to go to the gym a lot, and then I'll go to the gym and I won't be as good as I usually am. And I'll be like, I hate being this busy because I don't get to work on my game as much as I want to. Here's what I've discovered, and I guarantee you guys have all discovered the same thing in your journeys. People don't care about excuses. They never have. When you're at the gym and you're busting someone's ass and he says something about, oh, my legs are sore. Oh, I'm dealing with this injury. You don't give a fuck. Like, no one cares about excuses. And that's why it's such a loser mentality. Like, that's the thing. It's like, yeah, maybe you were the GOAT. Maybe these injuries have derailed a potentially all-time great type of career. But the reality is time and time again, you get to those spots and you can't come through. And I guarantee you, as you're getting pull-up threes put in your face by Jayson Tatum in Game 7, or as that was just the defensive end of the floor, as you look scared to make a post move against Al Horford, no one's sitting there going like, that guy could have been the GOAT, but he just had some injuries. No, they're going, what the hell's wrong with Joel Embiid? People don't care about excuses. And that's the thing. Excuses are real. There are real reasons why things go the way that they go. Absolutely, there are factors that can affect your performance. But putting that energy into the public serves no purpose. You know what I'd like to hear? I'd like to hear nothing. As Joel Embiid privately goes, I have unfulfilled potential, and this is the year that I get it all taken care of. I come in crazy good shape, and I figure it all out, and I kick everyone's ass. If you're that type of talent, show us. The world will rally around you as soon as you do. But putting that energy out there in the public that what if this, what if that? Nobody cares. Nobody cares. They never have. If you go about life expecting to get pats on the back and support for what's going on that's causing you problems, like, people don't care. They just don't. They only care about themselves and their family and advancing their own interests. That's the only thing people care about. I know it's kind of nihilistic, but it's just what I think is what I think to be the truth. Jason, you said on Twitter the other day that you think the 2020 Lakers would beat the 2024 Celtics in a series. Can you explain why? So I tweeted this out the other day, and I didn't think it was that big of a deal, and then everyone freaked out. But I want to kind of get into some of the specifics here because I don't think it's as crazy as people are making it sound. First of all, the 2020 Lakers were also a dominant basketball team. The 2024 Celtics were more dominant on paper for sure. They won more games. They had a larger net rating. But there's context there. Playing in a historically weak Eastern Conference, the Western Conference won the vast majority of games and head-to-head matchups against the East this last year. That's going to inflate net rating statistics. It just is. You're playing more lesser teams in the Eastern Conference. That's going to inflate your advanced metrics. That's going to make things a little bit easier, right? But even though the Celtics were more dominant on paper than the 2020 Lakers, the 2020 Lakers were also insanely dominant. Here are some basic stats to express that for you. The 2020 Lakers started 24-3, guys. 24-3. They won 24 of their first 27 games. They won before the stoppage. When COVID shut down the season, they were winning at a 64-win pace. Guess how many games the Celtics won? 64. And the Lakers did it in a substantially tougher conference. In this playoff run, the Celtics had a plus 15 net rating in their 16 wins, meaning they won by an average of 15 points per 100 possessions. The Lakers were plus 12. That's also super dominant. So like the idea that there is like this chasm between these two champions and what they accomplished within their seasons is silly. As far as like their playoff runs, like, do I think that the Celtics played a tougher team in the NBA Finals? Absolutely. That Dallas Mavericks team was a tougher team than the banged up Miami Heat team that the Lakers played in 2020. But if you stack up all the teams, Dame and CJ McCollum in round one, James Harden at the peak of his powers and Russell Westbrook in the second round, Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray, the same team that beat that Clippers team that everyone swore was the best team in the league. Like LeBron and the Lakers executed those guys. Put them out of there in 5. So, like, I believe the Lakers played tougher teams overall in that playoff run. Not that it matters. All I care about is the 2020 Lakers on a basketball court for a 7-game series against the 2024 Celtics. Who's going to win? I've got the 2 best players in the series. Anthony Davis was a better basketball player in the 2020 playoffs than either of Jaylen Brown or Jayson Tatum. He just was. LeBron James was the best basketball player alive in 2020. Those are the 2 best players in the series. Okay, let's talk about matchups. What is Boston's biggest advantage? They can space you out and drive and kick you to death. Well, what is the closing 5 for that Los Angeles Lakers team? Alex Caruso, elite perimeter defender with size. KCP, elite perimeter defender with size. Danny Green, very good perimeter defender with size. LeBron James, who in 2020 was still one of the best defensive players in the league, and that was one of his best defensive seasons. It was better than all of his seasons in Cleveland. And Anthony Davis, who was the best defensive player alive. That team is constructed to guard the Boston Celtics. All big, mobile perimeter defenders and a super versatile front line. And then on the other end of the floor, yes, Boston was an elite perimeter defense team, but LeBron James and Anthony Davis are matchup nightmares for them on the front line. Anthony Davis would have given Kristaps Porzingis fits on the low block, especially in that 2020 season. LeBron James, there's not a guy on the Celtics that could have guarded him in 2020. So, like, in my opinion, I've got the best players in the series. In terms of the X's and O's, the Lakers match up extremely well. I just think that 2020 Lakers team is the best basketball team that I've seen since the 2018 Warriors with Kevin Durant and Steph Curry. I've said that consistently. We got to get a little bit into the basketball today. I expect you guys to disagree. If you're a Celtics fan, lay it out in the comments. You guys know I read the comments. Jason, here's why you're wrong. X, Y, Z. Basketball, basketball, basketball. If you just tell me, oh, they were the most dominant team this season, I don't care about that. There's not a metric that the Celtics did this year that is substantially more impressive than what the 2020 Lakers did. So, like, if you have a basketball case, I want to hear it. Let's get into it. Let's debate a little bit. But I believe the 2020 Lakers would beat the 2024 Celtics in a playoff series. All right, guys, that is all I have for today. As always, I sincerely appreciate you guys for supporting the show. Again, we have the Jaime Jaquez interview coming out tomorrow, and then I'm going to end up recording a mailbag later this week. I will see you guys then.